In the top of half guard, one of the most important things is that I'm able to keep my pinning pressure without being so reliant on using my hands to do so. So in this next game, I'm going to start in the top half guard, and I'm going to start hip to hip, chest to chest with Jordan. My only goal for this game is to prevent Jordan from getting either of his legs between his hips and mine. Whether that means he gets a butterfly hook in, right? Or he gets a knee shield, or maybe he escapes the other leg all the way to the outside. So on top, my only goal is going to be able to keep this pin, and we're only going to touch the mat with our hands. This way we learn to keep our body centered, how I can walk and pin my partner throughout. So if Jordan and I were playing, we're here, go ahead, right? I'm only using my hands and movement to see how can I twist my hips, center my body, how can I entangle his legs to make it hard for him to make space while maintaining. Lots of times we get so caught up in holding people here that we quit paying attention to the rest of our body and how useful it is. So the goal here is think about how can the way I shift and twist my hips, walking my body one way or the other, make it harder for my partner to get their legs back involved. And at the same time, the more of my torso is leaning on my partner, you'll see you get a lot more control. So again, I start hip to hip. My partner's trying to get their outside leg between us, whether that's a hook or a knee shield, or they're trying to get their bottom leg back between us. Okay, and again, let's treat it for that 3 seconds, right? 1, 2, 3. It's a long time, but it's a very important thing. We don't want to accept it. And on bottom, we really want to insist on building those lines of defense again. For our next half guard game, we're going to again start with the top player hip to hip, but we're going to give us an upper body connection. So when I'm here with Jordan, I'm going to start top half guard, hip to hip, connected. Okay, you can choose from one of sort of 3 connections. I can be cross face underhook, I could be double underhooks, or I can be facing the legs. Your choice. For this game, though, we can't change what our upper body is doing, but we have the goal of being able to free our leg from the half guard. The big goal for this game is for us to learn how do I shift the weight to my upper body to make it easier for us to extract our legs without always having to rely on us using our hands to fight the legs. Because oftentimes when you're facing a really skilled player, I need to commit as many of my resources to keep their head and shoulders pinned to the mat so that I can allow my legs to do the work. If I always have to give up and start using my hands back here, I'm affording Jordan chances to create space and build those lines of defense. So again, I start hip to hip with whatever upper body connection I want, but what I start with is what I keep the whole time. For Jordan, he has the same goals as before. He's trying to get his outside leg between he and I, whether that's a butterfly hook or a knee shield, or he's trying to escape his bottom leg and get me all the way back into a closed guard. Again, play with different start positions, right? Maybe one time I go double unders, one time crossface underhook, maybe one time I have my head on this side when I'm working with the double unders versus the other, facing the legs. Play with all of them so you can learn how I'm going to use my body weight and my foot fighting to sort of help me pass this guard. In this half guard game, we're again learning how to use our body to pass the lines of defense, except we're going to start at the knee shield. So Jordan's going to start with his knee shield half guard, and we're going to get our hands in a fixed position and keep them there the whole time. We're going to go bottom collar, top pant leg, and our hands cannot change position. And the only goal is to be able to find a way to get past that knee and eventually hip to hip. If I end up getting all the way outside of the legs, that's fine too, as long as I finish hip to hip. The big goal is we want to learn how we can use our body weight effectively in this position, and that's through anchoring ourselves, right? So now we're seeing when Jordan's fighting, go ahead, right? And we're playing here. How can I keep this space closed? How can I walk him flat and work our ways in? But also, we don't want to develop this habit where when Jordan starts fighting to create space, I start changing everything I'm doing to stop him. Sometimes we don't need to do that. We just need more confidence with the grip configuration we have. So when I play bottom lapel, top pant leg, and we're here and we're playing, I learn to lean. I learn how can I maybe close his knees? How can I walk him flat and get my hips inside off of one grip? Really effective game to help us learn how to wear out a knee shield, how to really break down that guard while limiting my partner's ability to start attacking me. For this game, of course, since Jordan already has the knee shield in, his win condition is going to be escaping the bottom leg, boom, and getting me back out in front of his open guard. If he can keep me out in his open guard or closed guard for 3 seconds, that'll be a win for Jordan. With all of our guard games, I want you to keep in mind, if he can knock me over or put me in the bottom position, we're going to reset the game, right? We don't want to continue it there. Our next half guard game, we're going to be focused on committing to another really robust grip that we can use that affords us a lot of chances to really wear down and pass the guard. So when Jordan's setting up his knee shield, we're going to set up with our leg weave grip. So reaching through, gripping the bottom leg and the bottom collar. And again, in this round, I'm going to insist on keeping my hands here no matter what, while Jordan fights to either get the legs all the way out, or if he can off balance me at any time, we'll count that too. But remember, we're learning how do I have these two as my anchor point, using my body, my ability to switch my hips, my ability to create movement to eventually find my way to these hip to hip positions. You'll notice our big theme here is we want to get good at keeping a grip and making a lot happen within that one set of control. We don't need to always rush to be changing our hands here and there throughout. And games like this are going to help you figure out all of the movements you can do, how you create them when we narrow it in and take the upper body out of the equation. Our next game from the half guard, my bottom player is going to start with a half guard knee shield. And we'll be starting here with no upper body connections. For Jordan on bottom, we're trying to reinforce the two sort of basic ideas he'd have as far as improving his leg position. That's either getting both of his legs to the outside of my body, boom, or being able to get both of his feet to the inside of my legs. So for Jordan, if he can get either both feet outside or both feet inside for 3 seconds, he's going to win this game. For me as a top player, my goal is to be able to clear this top knee so I can get hip to hip while keeping his inside leg still trapped between my legs. So again, really big sort of signpost type game where we're trying to get a sense of directionality, which is something important. Where's my broad intention that I want to get? For me, it's to clear this knee, keep control of that leg, and cover my partner's hips. While for Jordan, it's to either be able to get the space to get both legs to the outside, boom, or both legs to that inside position between my legs. In this game, the top player cannot stand up to help achieve this goal. We're going to stay down on at least one knee at all times so we can learn to maintain this range while we advance. Remember, for the top player to win, they have to finish with one leg between their legs and connected hip to hip. So that means even if, say, I'm here and Jordan lets me fall all the way to side control, I still need to work my way back to collect one leg and finish in the half guard hip to hip. We're trying to be very intentional here so that we can create a consistent effect on our partner, right? We don't always in jiu-jitsu just want to accept what someone gives us. We want to be able to force it in a very particular direction, and this game is a great example of that. For this game, the bottom player is going to have the goals of getting both legs to the outside, right, or both legs to the inside. The top player is going to have a new way to win the game. So I can either get hip to hip with his leg controlled, or I can get standing and pin his leg to the mat. So if I can get either up off the floor and pin his knee to the mat while I'm up on my feet, or stay down on both knees and be able to get hip to hip I'll achieve my goal. Now, one important thing for Jordan to realize and take advantage of is when I'm starting to change my level, this is now giving him the chances to start entering underneath me, right? Because I have to be able to hold this for 3 seconds. So for Jordan, if he can start finding ways to pummel his legs, shift my weight, and start getting underneath or pummeling his feet to the inside, this is going to be his win. Both feet back to the inside. So we just want to make sure that he recognizes that transition consistently each and every time. So we start half guard knee shield. He's trying to get feet out or feet in. And remembering that when I start trying to change levels to achieve this goal, there are going to be those chances. But for me, this is a very strong position for us to start upgrading and building from. Our next game is going to be from the half guard. So the bottom guard will be on bottom. And on top, I'm going to get the start already hip to hip connected. And my partner on bottom is going to get to have all the inside position with their frame. So that just means that they've disconnected my chest. They're controlling the space between my 2 arms and their body up here. So right now, we think of it. I've won the big fight at the lower body because I've been able to close this distance. And right now, Jordan is winning this fight at the upper body with the frames. So we're going to play until we have a complete advantage. For Jordan, he has his upper body frames. If he can get his lower body back between he and I, that'll be the victory for Jordan. For me, if I can clear his upper body frames and get chest to chest and inside the elbow or inside both elbows, that'll be my victory. So we're just trying to take us from this 50-50 where I have his hips and he has my shoulders blocked to taking that full next step. So again, for Jordan, he's already doing well at the upper body. He's fighting to get the legs back between, whether that's knee shield or feet to the inside. And for myself, I'm working to clear these upper body frames so that I can get that inside position, right? Thinking of inside position as being able to get between his elbow and his torso, filling that gap between his ear and his shoulder, right? Or maybe filling both elbows here, but trying to be able to get inside position and keep him pinned. Again, in this game, at any time, if Jordan off balances me, we want to reset and start again. Our next game for the half guard, we're going to start in my partner's knee shield half. My goal as a top player is going to be to keep the bottom leg trapped between my 2 legs at all times. I'm not worried about advancing. This is going to be a game that's really focused on an upper body fight between myself and Jordan. So for Jordan, we have 2 goals. We want him to start learning to be able to connect at opposite corners of my body. So he's either going to try and connect his upper body to my shoulders on this side, or he's going to fight to connect his upper body to my legs on the far side. If he can accomplish either of those goals, he wins the game. So in this fight, 2 objectives. He either gets to the top shoulder or the bottom hip. Attacking these opposite corners gives him a lot of good offensive opportunities. One is him getting off the mat in a way, if we think of recognizing that from our earlier guard stuff. The other is a pathway for him to get under us, right? So we're seeing that the same big principle of guard, it exists here too in the way that Jordan wants to play and attack. This game is a great way for us to center in on that core idea. And on top, I'm just trying to maintain the top position as often as I can with his leg trapped. Could end the round. Our next game is going to focus on an idea that's true in all parts of grappling, which is fighting to get inside or outside the elbows. So for Jordan, he's going to start in his bottom half guard, and he'll start with his knee shield. His goal is to be able to get to inside my elbows and stay here connected, or to be able to get outside of my elbows and stay here and keep that advantage. Remember, at any time during this battle to win the position around the elbows, Jordan can be threatening to off-balance me and take that as his win. For the top player, we're going to have one major goal for this round, and it's going to be focused on the lower body. I want to make sure that I can cover Jordan's hip pocket. So if I can get my knee to cover this, I win the game. Whether or not his top knee shield is in, as a top player, being able to cover that hip pocket is a huge advantage that usually leads to all of our offense and keeps us safe from all the attacks of the guard player too. Our next game is going to look at a half guard scenario that's very similar to one of our earlier standing positions. It's the dogfight, which is just a hip to hip over under, but on the ground. So if Jordan's playing his half guard and he gets his underhook and he's able to get up, get his knees off the floor, or get his knees onto the mat and build up his base, you'll see we're hip to hip. He has the underhook, I have the overhook. We're going to play a very simple game here of driving the other player's hips to the mat. So whether Jordan does that by chasing my far leg, like we saw on the feet, or whether I do it by using my inside leg to return him to the mat, we're playing this little exchange of trying to force hips to the floor from here. Now, something to think about is always in jiu-jitsu, we're looking at how can I clear a post, right, to make things easier, but also how can I build height. In this situation, whoever builds height at their hips usually has a pretty strong advantage. If Jordan were to build height, that gives him a huge advantage immediately too. So when we're playing, we're just going to start here, hip to hip, over, under, and you'll notice Jordan has my one leg wedged between his two. This is our dogfight. We're both jockeying for that top position, and we're just going to treat it with the same rules. He's trying to chase to attack my far leg, and I'm trying to see if I can use my inside leg to return his hips to the mat and keep them down for 3 seconds. In our next game, we're going to continue working from the dogfight, except we're going to give Jordan more options here. So in addition to putting my hips on the mat like previous, Jordan can also fight to be able to get behind my hips and stay there. As the top player, we're going to give myself a new win as well. If I can either free my leg and get in front of my partner, that'll be a win, and I can still win by returning my partner's hips to the mat. So we both have the same original goals, putting hips on the mat, but now Jordan wants to see if he can get behind me. And I want to see if I can free my leg, be able to get back in front of Jordan's hips. So this next game, we start, the bottom player is up on their elbow with an underhook. The top player is down on both knees, and they have a strong overhook. We're going to be focusing in on a battle centered around the hips. So real quick, right, we talked about that hip pocket earlier. In this situation, Jordan wants to be able to put me in to his hip pocket and get his knees off the mat. And for me, I want to see, and for me, I want to see if I'm able to fill his hip pocket and force him to the mat. So in this big fight, it's one of the big reactions, because this over under when he's still on his elbow, it's a big pivot point. A lot can happen from here. If I'm slow and Jordan can put me into his hip pocket, he gets a huge advantage. Whereas if I can act fast and I can start working to put him flat and get my knee in that hip pocket, I'm going to have a big advantage there as well. So this is one of those key sort of transitions that we really want to be comfortable and know how it could shake out. It'll happen in a lot of scrambles, not just from the half guard. You might wrestle, end up here in this middle position, an under versus overhook. And we want to know, where do I want to focus our attention? It's trying to get control of those hips, whether you're the top or bottom player.